This is The Voice of Land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Jay Banky. We are joined by longtime and who we consider legendary Cleveland sports broadcaster, and of course now the host of the really big show on ESPN Cleveland. That is Tony Rizzo. Riz, thank you so much for jumping on with us for a little while tonight. And let us be among the umpteen millionth people to congratulate you guys over there at the really big show on ESPN Cleveland on 15 years of the show.
Well, thank you, Kevin. That's a lot of plugging to do there, partner. And segment number one, it is much appreciated by one of the top pluggers in the world. Jay, it is good to see you. What
Always
is your
a pleasure,
gear
Uncle
that
Riz.
you have on tonight, Jay?
Oh, I got my hat. I got my Browns gear on, always.
Yep.
You know, every time you see me, it looks like the fan shop threw up on me.
Yeah, well, you're allowed to do that. Guys, pleasure to be with you tonight. Watched some great NBA, college hoops today. Also checked out the golf and ready to go.
Well, we'll get into all of it. We'll probably start with some Browns here in just a moment. But with the 15-year anniversary, and you guys had a special show just a couple weeks back, and you know what would you attribute to the success and longevity, the ability to do so in an industry like this? What do you attribute most to the success and longevity of your guys' show?
Well, guys, I don't want this to be all about the really big show in my career, but certainly Aaron and I dreamt up a show that we were able to do. It's all about teammates, and really it's all about the listeners. And I always feel like I don't thank the listeners enough. They do such a great job. They're so loyal, and everybody, when we're on the air, I feel like we're a big group, like we're a big family. Jay, you could speak to this in that, we're all connected. We're all in this together. We're all Browns fans and Cleveland sports fans. And it's not easy. It's not easy being a Cleveland sports fan. So we're all in it together, and I think that's what really galvanizes us with the audience and really makes the show.
As Dale would say, the ambassador from fan to show there. Yes, it is a very tight family, the RBS family. If you're in it, you know.
Yeah, and Riz, you said it best. It's not easy. And one thing it's not easy being is a Browns fan from time to time. Successful year in 2020. Of course, we know what happened in 2021. NFL Combine's been going on. We're just a little bit over, about 10 or 2 weeks away from really seeing the free agency and players moving around the league. I mean, with this Browns team, do you see the Browns kind of being able to take maybe steps back towards 2020 more through free agency, through the draft, or do you feel like there's going to be some sort of combination to really add depth to this roster going into 2022?
Well, guys, let's face it. The quarterback play wasn't good last year. And I attribute that a lot to injury to Baker.
I totally agree.
Baker can return to form. And I think the Browns are hoping Baker can return to form. We've heard all these reports that they're doing their due diligence and, they're checking out all their options. Guys, there aren't a lot of options out there. Russell Wilson, the Seahawks would be ridiculous to let him go. And I don't know. I can't predict what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Nobody can predict what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. But
we've been saying Baker's the starter for months now. It's like with all those teams out there needing quarterbacks, like Aaron Rodgers ain't coming here most likely. He's flaky. And Russell Wilson already said he wants to stay on the West Coast. And they're just not guys. They're all lateral moves to me with Baker. And if you look at his 9 games prior to the J.J. Watt body slam on his bad shoulder and the 9 games after, they're day and night stats. Like his shoulder was bad, and then he just destroyed it after that, and he was just no good after that. And I think they should have sat him.
Yeah, the Browns' best bet is to run back Baker, healthy Baker, and get him back to form. People forget last season started with Baker playing outstanding in Kansas City, albeit not at the end of the game, but a great effort. Then in the Texans game, he was also outstanding until he tried to make a tackle. The Browns are hoping they can get that Baker back. Whether or not he comes back to that form, we'll have to wait and see. And I think not having him on a contract past this season is good for the Browns. He's on a prove-it deal. If he proves it, he'll be rewarded. If he doesn't, the Browns will have to move on. But I'm hoping he can prove it, and I think he's earned, guys, this 5th year. I think he's earned it. We've seen 2 good years, 2 off years, but last year, you've got to factor in the injury. If you're not factoring in the injury, you're not being fair to Baker Mayfield. Now, if he comes out and doesn't play well again, even healthy, so be it. But I at least want to see him healthy again, because the last time I saw him healthy, he was lights out.
He was. And Riz, like on this show, we just try to be realistic about it. We don't try to have this hot take that, we're Baker bros or Baker haters. It's Baker didn't play well, but there was an injury involved, and he has got to come back healthy. He has taken himself off of social media. He's, all reports are that he's focusing on it. But as Cleveland.com said, and you just kind of mentioned it, Riz, they're going to go into this year. He's their plan at starter for quarterback, and they're not going to do a deal. They're going to allow him to try to prove it, and that's what he has to do. You can be critical of a person, but also understand what other issues were going on. If those issues continue, like you just said, Riz, you got to have that plan moving forward, because you still have a window to contend in the AFC North and in the NFL here, and that's what Andrew Berry and this front office is tasked with this offseason. But speaking on that, though, Riz, with Baker, I think everybody can kind of put him in, maybe pencil him in, because the NFL not for long and nothing's for sure in the NFL or professional sports. But we know the passing game really has to improve. How can they do that this offseason? Are there players that you're kind of looking at, and especially with the combine, guys run around in shorts, but we all know that 13th pick we've talked about wide receivers. Is that the route that this front office needs to go? Try to get more playmakers and depth on that side of the football.
Yeah, here to me is the deal. Don't freak out about the passing game, okay? Passing game worked in 2020 when you had a healthy quarterback and you had options at wide receivers. Andrew Berry will take care of the options at wide receivers, not only through the draft, and I do think they'll obviously draft a receiver 1st or 2nd round, but I think he's going to bring someone in on a prove-it deal, a veteran player. I think he's going to add at least 2 wide receivers, maybe a 3rd later in the draft. And then, guys, all you really need is a healthy quarterback.
I totally agree.
When your quarterback's not healthy, the passing game doesn't look good. I know we want to make it way more complicated than it is, but in Kansas City and against the Texans, the passing game looked great. So I'm not as worried as everybody else. I think that'll take care of itself. It all depends on Baker. Baker coming back healthy, Baker returning to 2020 form. If we get that, the passing game will take care of itself.
I mean, I think AB is totally going to make this offense so much better for him, too. Like, he's going to give him, like you said, the receiver in the draft. And I'm not sure if they're going to give him a tier 1 or like a tier 2 veteran receiver, but they're going to get another veteran receiver. He's known for picking up veterans when he drafts guys high. And they're going to give him no excuses. Like, he's going to have no excuses after this year. You've got to come in healthy. You're going to have all the weapons here. You got a great offensive line coming back. And if he doesn't do it, I mean, you're gone. I don't know what else to tell you, Baker. They're going to draft a guy next year. And everyone freaks out. Like, there's no one in this draft. I'm sorry. Kenny Pickett, who knows what he's going to be? I love the Wills kid, but who knows what he's going to be? There's all those guys wouldn't even be picked at last year. They're going to, when a time comes that there's a quarterback available, you could always trade up in the draft and get him. We watched the Rams go and get Goff. We've seen other teams do it. Just move up in the draft. But I believe, like you said, I think Baker's coming back. I really believe he's going to come back on fire, too.
We're hoping, and that's the best we can hope for. Guys, the other area that I really think the Browns need to address is special teams. And not just talking about the kicker. I think they had a stat on
what you call them, the very
CBD.
unspecial teams?
Yeah, the unspecial teams. They had a stat on CBD. We were way down in the kicking game this year. The Browns, the playoffs proved one thing, it's special teams. So you've got to be able to perform in the special teams. I think that's the other area where the Browns really need to improve. That's a depth thing. Last year we had so many injuries. They were so far down on the depth chart. The guys that were playing special teams weren't the guys we needed playing on special teams. So if the Browns can address that, I think they'll take care of the offense. I think it'll be a good year.
Do you want him to draft a kicker or sign a veteran kicker?
I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a kicker, but I'm sure they'll bring in about 3 or 4 different options to get that right. I'm not concerned about it. The Bengals went out and drafted a kid last year who, was money in the playoffs. Well, it's about time the Browns hit on that kicker thing. Before I go, I wanted to tell you guys, I had a little news on the baseball front.
Oh.
I'm a giant Guardians fan.
Well, you know me, Riz. It took a torn Achilles to make me stop playing baseball. Like, I love the game, but MLB is just ticking me off lately.
I believe you're still softball guy, Jay.
No, I'm retired softball guy.
Oh, wow. Well, I missed the retirement party.
Yeah.
Just like Tom Brady, we'll believe it when we see it, Riz.
Right. I agree with that, Kev. But no, I'm hearing baseball has kind of set May 1st for the date that they would like to begin regular season. And I think both sides kind of didn't agree to that or have a under the table deal, but they both kind of knew when they didn't get things going in December and early January that there probably would be a delay. If you're a baseball fan, I would point towards May 1st for the start of the regular season, which means, spring training in a week or 2. I know they're going back to the table tomorrow, Monday morning, and we're going to talk about this on RBS, but I did talk to some baseball people over the weekend who are a little optimistic, although you'll miss a month of the season. We'll at least get 5 months in the season. They're hoping would start on May the 1st.
Do you think this or shortage of whatever you call it, this lockout, will affect them as bad as the 94 strike did? Because the 94 strike ended this season, if I'm correct.
Now, Jay, here's what happens in sports. Everybody gets angry. I'm angry. And I can't believe these two sides couldn't begin negotiating earlier and get this thing solved. But they wait till the last minute. It's how things work. You're angry, but in July, when the Yankees come to town, and it's 82 degrees, and Progressive Field looks like the most beautiful place in the world, you're going to go down to the ballpark, and you're going to watch a game. You're going to have it on your TV. Initially, I think people will be angry, but in the end, everybody loves baseball.
I mean, Kevin is having a baseball-themed wedding.
Oh, wow. Kev, you're a big ball fan?
Yes, big baseball fan. Fiance even bigger, and we're actually going to have the first ever wedding at League Park on May 21st. So if baseball starts in May, it's kind of the perfect timing for that, because then the baseball atmosphere will still be at a kind of a fever pitch when we get married this year.
What month are you starting?
May 21st will be of this year. We're going to get married on the field at League Park with the 2 original standing walls. They're going to give our family and friends access to the Baseball Heritage Museum beforehand, before we get there and get everything all situated. We just had a meeting about the wedding today, so we're really, really looking forward to it. I'm just an overall sports fan. My grandpa is the big baseball fan, and that's kind of my family tie in there. That's how I became a big baseball fan, even though I never got to play it. And now getting married to someone that comes from a big baseball family and huge, strictly into the game of baseball, it is going to be a very special day for both of us. So we're really looking forward to that.
The ghosts are in that park. You know that. Babe Ruth played in that park. Ty Cobb played in that park.
We'll take all of them.
They're welcome.
Ghosts are there.
Yeah,
I'll be doing shots with them later.
We'll take
That's the power of RBS right there, though. Look, I'm doing a podcast. I'm in his wedding with Nick Paulus is in it too. And it's all connected through the RBS. Power of the RBS right there.
How great. Nick filled in last week for Paul. Chris Oldak was off. He was ill. He'll be back tomorrow. But Nick did a great job. I call him Nicky, which he thinks is hysterical.
I got a request for my buddy. He keeps getting ripped off in the Riz quiz. You need to have him in a permanent guest on there, because he is Hammer's rival right now.
I wanted to we didn't have the time, but I was going to do a little 2-question grudge match.
Mm-hmm. I was listening.
With Nick and Aaron, but we ran out of time. Aaron had a really tough day. He had the golden sombrero, 0 for 4.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
For some reason, when he loses, it's the best. We lost to Paul and the decathlon thing. That was awesome.
Hey, remember,
I've been accused of rigging up the questions, but no names, please. No names.
remember, it is called the Riz quiz for a reason. It is the rules are determined by Riz as they go.
You should know after 10 minutes of listening to that how it's going to go.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Riz, I know we only got a couple more minutes with you. Couldn't get you out of here before we talk about the Cavs. Your expectations for them. I know they got a game tonight coming up here in just a little bit against the Raptors at home. Your expectations now hitting this lull in the season, Evan Mobley hitting that rookie wall. What should still be the expectation for this team? Play-in, playoffs, winning playoff series. Where are you at with this Cavs team right now?
Yeah, well, I'm a little miffed, guys. I am in that, all of a sudden the Cavs defense isn't as good as it used to be. And that's how they were winning games early on. Now, you lose Rubio, Garland missed time. Rondo's been out. It's been really tough on them. And the injury thing is real. I think Mobley's hit a little bit of a wall. The kids played 30 games last year for USC. So they've got to grind it out. But I want them to make that 6th seed. I don't want them to go into the play-in thing. I'd rather see them in a legit playoff series. But if they get into the play-in thing, that was my goal to start the season. I said if the Cavs could get into the play-in and get some valuable playoff experience, feel the pressure of what it's like to play in the playoffs on national TV. You got to do that a few times before you win a title. I watched LeBron do that in his career. Cavaliers need to do that. So I'll take the play-in. I would love the 6th seed where you're guaranteed. But I think if the Cavs miss the playoffs, it's going to be a really, really tough off season. I don't think they will. I think at worst they'll get into the play-in. And it'll be some valuable experience for them.
I bet you're glad you didn't take, or wish you would have taken the over this year on their wins. You could have been relaxed a lot easier this year.
I'm done with those bets. No, I'm done. After last year, I think they lost 13 in a row.
I'll never forget. Every time I'm watching for you, I'm like, oh man, he's losing it over there.
Sizable bet there. Wasn't pizza money. I promise. It was
it paid off. You got it.
Paid off. Thank you.
We're going to need some sports betting education as it fully comes legal here in Ohio.
That's dangerous. Hey, guys, let me say this, and let me say this to everybody watching. We do it for fun, and I do it with what I call pizza money, $10, $20 bets and parlays or whatever. If you get into that, it could be really dangerous. I have guys like Brent Musburger and people that really know the business in Vegas say there's very few people that can make their money doing that. And you really have to be careful if you're going into that. Do it for fun. Do it to get the excitement of the game, but realize it's not going to be life-changing money. And realize you can go down a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. But I don't know. We're still waiting for it to be legal in Ohio. I guess.
I always say,
yeah,
bet whatever. If you lose, you won't be upset about it. That's a good bet right there. Right. Nothing more, nothing less. But if you're going to be upset about what you lose, you shouldn't. You're betting too much.
I'm upset over $10.
So dude, you should see me when I play poker. I get so into it, man. I'm like, we're playing $5. I'm like, I don't care. I want to win.
I work too hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tony Rizzo from ESPN Cleveland and The Really Big Show, thank you so much for taking the time out tonight. And, before you go, do you have any advice for me? Because Fish has got me kind of heading out to the transmitter. Anything I can kind of help us out with being teammate of you guys now and kind of going out there to help the engineer to get the transmitter working for you guys?
Oh, I certainly don't know anything about that. And I would certainly hope you wouldn't have to go out there. But guys, let me tell you this: if this is what you enjoy doing and you think you can do it well, don't give up. Don't give up. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. I've done this now going on 35 years. So, you guys are just relatively getting started. But if you enjoy it, if it's your passion, stick with it, let that show, and everything will take care of itself. I wish you both the best of luck.
We appreciate that, Riz. And you're one of those influences that we listen to kind of growing up and, kind of being on WKNR, a station my grandpa listened to. So it was always in the back of my head for this. Going to keep going after it. I know Jay's going to keep going after it, and we're going to use this show and whatever else we can to get there. And we appreciate all that advice. We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much for jumping on for a little while here tonight, Tony.
You got it, Kevin. Jay, I'll talk to you, bud.
All right. 40th birthday is coming up in May, by the way. I'm gonna need some barbecue advice. No, the fiance is getting me a smoker, so I'm gonna need some advice.
We'll give you a little tutorial.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
All right, buddy.
We'll get that right here.
Right.
So thank you, guys. Thank you, Riz. Thank you so much.